to MrMFretwell Plays Minecraft, and we're here again today over by the bulk storage area. But we're not going to be working on this today. Rather, we're going to be working on setting up the automatic smelter that I talked about in the last episode. And I decided here would be a good spot for it, directly opposite to the bulk storage room. Makes a lot of sense to kind of fill out this area. I'm possibly also going to have my automatic brewer up here, maybe down here somewhere. And then that pretty much finishes off this corridor at that point, and we've kind of filled it all out with stuff. So the first thing I'm going to have to do is kind of dig a spot for it. And I'm not really sure how big I want it to be. I did put together a design on a creative world because I wasn't really entirely sure about how to exactly build one of these. I know a little bit about them, but not on a big scale, so I will probably have to look back at that to determine the room I'm going to need. Silk touch that coal there, and probably do it a little bit similar to how we have in here, to be honest, sort of widen it out a little bit. Although, I think I want to have a little bit of a corridor first, before I actually enter the main smelter. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to carve this area out off camera, and then we will come back and start building it together now that we've picked a location. So I will get to work on that. Well, I'm out here and I'm using my looting sword to collect insects. It's been a long time since I've really doing any sort of squid hunting. I think the last time I did this was for the stained glass for the actual lab building, and that was quite some time ago. So what are we up to now? A stack and 3, that's pretty good. So I carved out the room for the furnace room, and I've also sort of started to run around and gather up supplies. And now I'm going to head back with my insects and hopefully start work on it. I do need to pick up some hardened clay out of the chest along the way. I think I'm also going to make an ender chest too. Oh, speaking of which, I don't think I ever showed off this before, but I did put an ender chest in here. Really sneaky, but right there. So we have an ender chest in the lab now. Had a bit of a lag spike there, I'm not really sure what that was about. Then again, my whole base is not really too good in the frame rate department anymore. Too many chests, too many entities. It's not conducive to having a good frame rate, unfortunately. Hopefully though, at some point in the future that'll be fixed, so we can enjoy a smooth time in this base here rather than a bit of a stuttery time. Like, what am I getting right now? Says 60 on there. That's about right. I'd say it's about 60 consistently, compared to the usual over 100 that I get. So, let's see here. I need to pick up hardened clay, that was right. I need to pick up some hardened clay, and then we can start and actually figure out what it is we want to do here with the furnace room. So I kind of have a few ideas of things that I would like to do. Well, we don't have all that much left, do we? That's not good. I may have to take a trip out to the mesa at some point. I do not have any chests. That could be a problem. I'm going to drop off this iron ore and pick up a chest, I think, or 2. So that I can put stuff down. My inventory is kind of full, so that will be useful. There we go. Got some chests. So let's head back upstairs. And this is their room size. The actual furnace room part is going to be in here. This is going to be something else. Still part of the furnace room, but it's more sort of decorative than anything else. So I guess we'll set up our little station right here for now. Put that down. Starting to offload some of our supplies here. We don't need the looting sword. I really don't need a lot of this stuff, honestly. Get rid of that for now. There we go. Get rid of the old inventory clutter there. So now let's figure out how we want to do this. So first of all, I'm going to need some furnaces. And I believe in my design, it was a bit like this. I think I had them inset into the wall like that. And the reason I did that is because we're going to hide some of the hopper mechanics. So we have those in there. We're going to have various redstone controls, which is why I brought this back a little bit. We're going to have redstone for showing off when the fuel is full or when it's empty, and a whole host of other things. I'm actually thinking what I want to do is probably work on some of the redstone stuff off camera, and then bring you back and we can do some decorative work, and also I can show off how it works, as it's going to be kind of complicated to explain this as I'm doing it. So what I think I'm going to do is, now that we've gotten this and I've sort of collected everything up, I'm going to work on this for a little bit off camera and then come back when I have something that's a little bit more functional than it is now. So I'm going to be back soon. Okay guys, so I've been working for a little bit of time now, and I've put together the auto smelter here, and what we're going to do is we're going to kind of take a look around what I've done, and then we're going to spend some time sort of prettifying the room here. I felt that it was probably best that I build it and then show you how it works, and that was a good idea because it took me a little bit of time. I haven't tested it yet either, so there could still be some bugs, some hiccups with it, but we'll see. And nothing's labeled yet or anything, so I'm going to have to put some signs up in here. So, first off, let's start with this lever on the wall here. This lever on the wall does one very simple job, and all it does is turns on or off these here. And this determines whether it is experience mode or not. And actually looking at it, if I flick this on, it should, yeah, it turns everything off. So what we're going to do is actually really quickly throw an inverter in here. Because by default, we want it to, there we go, do that. By default, we just want it to store the items, so we can flick that back up again. By default, we want the items to go into the chest, but if we want to use experience mode, we turn it on. Just a little fix there. That's all that does, and literally, it's very, very simple redstone. It leaves this here, goes down to here, and it powers these redstone torches, which lock the hoppers so no items can leave the furnaces, and it's as simple as that. So that's what that is. This here, this chest, and this droppervator, and these hoppers link around to the top here of the furnaces. This is our item input. So for example, this would be where we'd put our iron, or gold, or food, or whatever it is that we want to smelt. We will put that in there. That's our input chest. This here is our output chest, and whenever there is an item or more in this chest, we have a little indicator light. So I'll just throw some gravel in there, turns on the indicator. I really like that, just a little feature. That's all that is, and all the items will leave these hoppers unless we have experience mode on, and just fill up into this chest. Just a very simple hopper chain. And then over here, this is our fueling mechanism. So this is where it gets a little bit more complicated. We have a redstone clock here, and I'll explain what this does in a second. But before we do that, this is where we put our fuel in. So this is probably going to get fueled on wooden planks, maybe. Something that I can get a lot of very easily. Maybe charcoal, that kind of thing. And all that does is it's just a hopper chain that goes around into here and fills up the various different hoppers. I could probably compact this a little bit, actually, looking at it. Might be able to drop it down, possibly. But we'll see. I want to test it first before we then start thinking about compacting it. So that is our fuel input. This here is a indicator light for when the fuel is running low. So what we have here is we have an AND gate, I believe it's called. It's a gate of some sort. Don't quote me on all the fancy terms. But what happens here is when this gets filled up with fuel, say a stack of whatever it is, then it starts to go into these hoppers here. And the idea is that when there is less than a stack of whatever the fuel is, so let's just say coal, there's 63 coal, and there's no more coal in these hoppers, it then depowers one of these. And the idea is that when they're all depowered, then this redstone torch will be allowed to come on. At the moment I have it disconnected just for lag reasons, and this redstone torch will come on. Oh, sorry, it will turn off, and then it will activate this redstone clock, which flashes to me to say, hey, low fuel. What I might do is I might even add a note block or two in here, so that we have a little sound too that plays. I'm not really messed around with note blocks in a long time, so it might be kind of cool. Do we have the supplies for those? I think we do, so we might be able to mess around with note blocks a little bit here as well. Things are kind of compact and quite tight here, but we've managed to get it working. There's not a whole lot of room. And my pick wore out. I'm using the fortune pick again for a little while, but I'll be going and repairing that shortly. So that's basically an overview of the auto smelter here. So now what we really need to do is probably think about fuel. And before I connect this, actually, I'm going to run and get some fuel. For the first test, I'm going to use some coal. And that's just because I have a lot of it ready to go. After that, I'm probably going to start and think about using an alternative method of fuel. Because, while I do have a lot of coal, it's not unlimited. So we're going to need 5 stacks and a bit, essentially. This is the simplest way I could think of doing it. And I've not really looked at any tutorials or anything. I really wanted to take a crack at building this on my own. So what we're going to do is we're going to throw a stack of coal in each. That's not a stack of coal. There we go. And then I'm going to go back into the internals here. Actually, let's test this for a second as well. Let's just throw, I don't know, 10 coal in there, and we'll see how it fares. Now, my hunch is that, okay, it transferred everything. My hunch is that it's going to put 10 in there, and it did. That could be a problem, because that means that all of that needs to be filled up. Yeah, what I might do is I might condense some of these hoppers before too long here. I'm not going to be using coal. I'm going to be using a fuel supply I can get a lot more of, probably sticks for this. But what I'm thinking is I may condense these hoppers and just remove this middle chain here, as they're not really doing anything, as it takes a while for things to fill up. But it's good to know that it does transfer. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put one piece of coal in each of these here. Whoops, that's a hopper. What should happen is this turns off and the redstone torch is powered. And that means that we're good on fuel for now. And as such, the redstone lamp is off. So now what I'm going to do is I have some iron here. I'm probably going to cook this iron up. Although actually, let's be sensible about this. Let's put in 8 cobblestone. And now what should happen is it does. Okay. Now, even though the rest of the furnaces are full, there's no more fuel behind the furnaces, so we're beginning to run a little bit low. And it gives me plenty of time to do something about it. That's kind of the idea with it. And items are coming into here, so that's now turned on, so that's working fine. Let's try experience mode. Let's see if that works. It should hold the cobblestone in place. And it does just fine. So that's also working. Don't really need it for the purposes of this. So, all told then, I'm going to disconnect this now, by the way. All told, it looks like everything's working. The only thing we didn't try is item input. That's literally all we have to test now. And then it will be a case of decorating out the room. So, do I really want to waste another piece of coal? I guess I'm going to have to, just to test it. I'll put in a little bit more smooth stone. What I'll do is I'll put in another 8. And we'll see if this does its thing. Now I assume, where's this going to end up? Does it all go to the first furnace? I assume so, yeah, it does. And then Once that got full, it would... Oh, would it fill that hopper? Yeah, it would fill that hopper first, wouldn't it? That would then mean that this would get full, so only one furnace would be in use before this one. I mean, it's not terrible. I mean, this is designed to be something that I throw a lot of stuff in to smelt and then leave it for a period of time. So I guess it's not a big deal. I don't know of any other ways of really dealing with that, because the hoppers have to be pointing into the furnaces, and the way I spread things is like this. So I don't really see any ways of improving that. I think that might be one drawback, that it will only use one furnace at a time. There may be ways of doing it with them all at once, but I think that that will be a lot more work than what I really need, because I don't really smelt that much stuff at any given time. So I think that this is probably going to be an amicable solution for us, honestly. So, with everything tested, that means that the functionality of this is pretty much complete. I'm going to have to go back into the redstone and kind of tidy stuff up when my pick is repaired, because I don't really want to waste my fortune pick more than I have to. Just kind of slab everything off, make sure it's all well lit, that kind of thing. Keep monsters out, tidy all this mess up. But actually, I think we're in good shape now to actually kick on and do a little bit of decoration in here. So, at the start of the episode, I went and got some ink sacs and some hardened clay here so that I can actually try and do a little bit of experimentation. Now, one thing I do know is that around here where the chests are, I'm going to have to come up with a solution, because I can't place a full block on it. Can't open the chest. So, we're going to have to come up with a solution for that. And what I may end up doing is I may end up using a quartz stair or something like that, maybe. And that might solve our problems. So, what does this look like? It's kind of, it's not like black wool. It's kind of more of a brown tint. You know, being as it's a clay, all of them have sort of like a brownish tint, rather than wool, which is more the exact colour. I don't really want to use wool for this, though. It doesn't seem right. I actually quite like the way that this clay looks for this, too. Or do I? I've made a commitment now. Or do I want to try and use grey? I might want to try and use some grey. I don't know if I have any grey. That's a lot of black that I've just made, though. So, I don't have that much clay left. I might have to go on a clay trip just to finish off decorating out this here. This is not the way to the bone meal. Or the dyes, for that matter. So, I'm going to call down here in our little warehouse and see if I firstly have any grey clay. Big slime over there. Let's see if we have any grey. That's light grey. What about here? We have a bit, so I'll try that out, see what that looks like. I'm also going to pick up some bone meal while I'm up here. I'm going to leave that one grey dye there. I don't think that's too important. I know I do want to use cyan stained clay for the floor. I do know that for sure. So, let's head up here. Head back again, and we'll see how the two compare. So what about this, if I was to put this in place instead? I'm not sure. I don't know which one I prefer. I think I will go with the black, though. It does suit it better. So, I think that's what we're going to roll with for the time being. So, let's try and do a full wall with it. Get rid of all this ugly cobblestone. Like so. And as for this here, I'm not really sure exactly what I want to do with that yet. I may... Do I want to use glowstone? I don't think so. I may try and put some blocks around it, maybe put a piece of glass there, possibly. That might be something I could try and do. I could have an upside down stair there instead of slabs, and maybe have a piece of glass on it. I still don't 100% know though yet. That's something I'll have to take the time out to think about. So, same thing over here too, thinking about it. I may just have to accept the fact that I can either have it open or use a stair. That perhaps is not the nicest looking thing. But I may be able to cover it up to a degree with an item frame or something like that, and it won't be as bad. The only problem is, for the experience mode, I can't really put anything in an item frame because I don't have any bottles of enchanting, and I don't know as anything else would really indicate experience clearly, so I'm not sure about that either. Now I do have some cyan stained clay, so what we should try is setting in some of the floor here and seeing what that looks like. And what I want to do here is sort of turn it into a little forge to kind of go with our smelting theme a little bit. I want to get some anvils down, some crafting tables, that kind of thing. The floor here would still be cyan. Oop. There we go. And hypothetically, let's just say that's finished for a sec. How does that look? I quite like that. I do. That's what we're going to do, I think. For the roof, I'm not sure yet. I don't entirely know. I do have an idea for the back wall here, and some of this stuff's going to have to move to make that happen. But what I want to try and do in this back wall is have, maybe say, like a frame of black stained clay here, and then put some iron bars in, and then have some lava behind that to really give it a forge feel. For the purposes of this. This here is probably going to be cyan clay, I think, before we transition off into the black stained clay, which will make up this. Let's see. And I'm out, so I'm going to have to make some more here. Again, I'm running particularly low on hardened clay again, but I can kill two birds with one stone. I hate using that expression, it sounds so violent, but I can go out and repair my pick, and at the same time I can go ahead and get a bunch of hardened clay together in order to kind of finish this up here. I was hoping I was going to be able to do it without having to take a trip somewhere, but I think it's about that time that tools need repairing and other things need completing as well. We need some more clay. So, I may also go get some sandstone, as I need that for the branch mine thing we were working on down there. But it's just kind of a matter of aesthetics at this point over functionality. The important thing is the actual smelter itself works. And I'm just at this point kind of filling in the gaps. This does make the room seem a bit dark. I may add some more of those little lava light things I talked about as well to kind of brighten up the room. Possibly may even put in some glass floor with lava in. I don't know about the ceiling. The ceiling could be a bit risky. Not only that, I think the particles could be distracting as well, so I'm not sure about how I feel doing the ceiling in that style. But I might be able to work some redstone lamps into the floor or that kind of thing. To give you an idea, I'm not going to put the anvils down right now, but I can put down the crafting benches here. I wonder if I still have some more down in the tools box. I should check that out before I go ahead and make them. I'm kind of terrible for making lots and lots of crafting tables when I really don't need to. I do not, so these are the only ones we have. I'm positive I have more than that, but I guess they've been used. Maybe I used a bunch in that project, possibly in there. I'm not sure. But the idea is, say if this is the center of the room, let's make ourselves, I don't know, there's another two. That'll give us a third, and maybe one more. We'll make 4 workbenches here. If I put them down like that, we kind of have like a little crafting station, and maybe in front of that we'll have some anvils, and just little things like that, you know, to make it feel a bit more like a forge is what I think I'm going for. That's sort of the best thing I could think of at this point to really make this look good. As I say, I'm still not sure what I want to do exactly with the ceiling. Do need to throw up some signs or item frames. Don't know what to do with that yet. I might just put a sign above that one. This one I'm probably going to put a item frame above with some coal in it maybe, or a sign that says low fuel. This will be fuel input, this will be item input. I'm thinking maybe like having an iron ore maybe. This one might have an iron ingot in it, and this one may have a... that might actually be the coal, and the other two will be signs. But we'll see. Again, it's all a matter of just kind of making those decisions as we get to them. And this little corridor here does have a purpose. This is going to be our storage area eventually, but that's going to come much later down the road once I get some more of this sort of set up here. But I think we're moving in the right direction now of having a nice automatic smelter solution going as well. So I'm going to get to work here on filling up as much as I can, and then probably going out and doing some tool repairs and also getting some more hardened clay. So I'll also probably try out one of those lava things, and probably when we get back I'll talk about that and see what it looks like and make our decisions from there. So back to work. Well guys, I've been keeping busy and I've got the auto smelter basically finished now, and I probably got a little bit more done than I intended, but there was a reason for that. And here we go. Wow, look at that. So I've tried to make it look as good as I can in here. The ceiling is a bit barren, but I wasn't really sure what else to do. And to get back to the original point, the reason I kind of went ahead and got on with what we were doing is I didn't really realize how long we'd already spent working on this, and we're probably going to be approaching the half-an-hour mark, which I think is good for a video. So I have made my mind up that I'm going to fuel it on wooden planks. That seems like the most efficient way of getting a lot of stuff. So we're going to fuel it on that. Still need to do a few little tweaks here and there. For example, I need to finish off the storage area here. I just need to make some trap chests. This torch has to go in favor of a redstone lamp. But this is what I was looking for. We have the sort of smelter over here. We have some workbenches down. An anvil or two. I may end up making this a little bit wider just to kind of neaten everything a little bit. That is kind of off center, and I don't know as I really like the look of that. So I might make a few more and move the anvil a little bit. And we may go ahead and do that really quickly at the end just to see what it looks like, because I have the supplies to do that right at this moment. So the first thing we need to do though is we need to carve these out. I did want to show you how I've been doing the lava lighting in the wall, in case you were not aware and you wanted to perhaps include this in your own world, or just wanted to see how it was done. I thought it might be quite interesting to share this little snippet. So this is what I've been doing, and what I can now go ahead and do is something a little bit like this. And we should have 2 lava buckets left, which we do for the last 2 areas, just like that. And then we can put our iron bars in front. We've just got to be careful not to get too close as to set ourselves on fire. That would be really unpleasant. I want to get water out and start turning things into cobblestone and just make it a huge mess. There we go. We've got a nice big light in the back. It really does a lot for lighting as well. So I'm really happy with the way that looks. This chest is going to have to move. I do not have any redstone lamps by the looks of things, but I can make one really quick here using our lovely workbench that is provided handily in here for us. I figured I might need that for crafting, I don't know, ore blocks or whatever. So it would be useful. And the anvils are just kind of a decorative thing. So, while I'm working on this, I will say, as you've probably already saw, I have been to the cave spider trap, and I've been doing a little bit of grinding. I repaired my sword, I repaired my pick, got my 2 utility picks back up again. I don't know where my fortune pick is at the moment. Did I put it in one of these? No, I might have put it away at the end of chest, but I also repaired that, got that basically back up to full as well. I used a lot of this. I went on a hardened clay run as we were running out of that, so I've gotten just over a single chest of hardened clay now. So that's in good shape. What is it we need here for tripwire hooks? Can I do that as well? I think so. How many am I going to need? Just the 2, actually, so I think tripwire hooks are made like this. This is another one of those recipes I always forget. No, there we go. Whoops, I made 4. Oh well. I'm not too worried. So this... Oh wait, I'm actually going to end up needing 4, I believe. Although I think I have these pre-crafted in a chest somewhere. I have a lot of them from when I was working on another project here. Where's my axe? There it is. There we go. Get rid of this torch. We're going to need 4 more chests. Do I want to... No, I'll probably just destroy that when I'm kind of done with it. So that's 1 double chest. I'm going to need... That'll give me the 2 double chests, and then I need to make 1 into a trap chest. There we go. So we should have now 6 chests, and I can throw 2 back up in there. Get those moving here. Kind of got a nice little storage area going there if we ever decide that we need it for anything. This looks a little dark here, but I don't know anything that I could really do to improve it necessarily, so I think I'm just going to have to accept that for the time being. So I'm now going to have to start and empty out everything here, all my various different supplies that I've been using while working on this project. But I think that we're pretty much done with the auto smelter. It's functional. I'll just have to come in off camera and fill it up with wood. I'm not going to do that now. It's got some coal in it, which will keep it going for a while until I get myself a little bit of wood going in there. And then I think at that point we'll be fully operational in here. I'm not sure what we're going to do next episode. We may finish that off over there. We may do something else. There's a lot of different things I would like to work on. Particularly animal farms. I would like to get a brewing setup moving. Yeah, here we go. There's my fortune pick. So, I have a number of different things that I want to do. And I'll just pick one at random, I guess. The one that I really want to do when the episode rolls around will be what we do. So, it will be kind of a little bit of a surprise for the moment. Don't need those, really. Or that slab. So I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of organization here, ready for next episode, and work out what I want to do for next time. But I hope you've enjoyed today's episode, guys. I've had a lot of fun working on that smelter. I'm really proud of the way it turned out, particularly considering it was my own design. It might not be the best in the world, but it certainly makes me happy knowing that I put my own design together. So I think that's going to pretty much do it for today, guys. I hope you've enjoyed, and I hope to see you next time. And until then, see you later, and have a good day.